Good evening or good morning, depending on where you're reading this. I hesitated before writing a single word. In moments like this, when emotions are raw and the public spotlight is intense, the line between insight and intrusion can blur quickly. But after watching that second video, the one where Savannah Guthrie says, "We will pay," with a calm that almost trembles but never collapses, I understood something important. What we're witnessing isn't performance, it's survival. And while there have been whispers about private conversations involving Roker and others at NBC, it's critical to be clear. No verified on-the-record interview has been released, and no confirmed transcript exists. What matters isn't private speculation. What matters is understanding the very human dynamic that may be shaping how Savannah is carrying herself through her mother's disappearance. The weight of a long career. Roker has spent decades inside the same early morning hallways, production meetings, and makeup rooms as Savannah. When you work at 3:30 a.m. for years, colleagues become something closer to family. Over time, you see each other in unguarded moments, before the lights come up, after the hard interviews, during ratings dips, during personal milestones. Roker has watched Savannah evolve from correspondent to co-anchor, navigating marriage, motherhood, professional pressure, and public scrutiny. Anyone who has shared that kind of daily grind develops a quiet understanding of another person's rhythms. So when longtime colleagues say they've never seen her like this, it's less about drama and more about subtle change, the kind only proximity reveals. That observation doesn't confirm hidden truths. It simply highlights that something about this crisis feels deeply personal, even beyond the obvious reason. Strength as a family language. Savannah has often spoken publicly about her mother's resilience. Losing a spouse young while raising 3 children demands endurance most people never have to summon. In many families shaped by hardship, strength becomes the language of love. Encouragement sounds like high standards. Protection sounds like preparation. You can do hard things becomes both comfort and command. Over time, children internalize those messages. They learn to equate composure with capability. They learn that falling apart publicly feels unsafe. That kind of upbringing doesn't create coldness, it creates discipline. And discipline can look remarkably steady on camera. When Savannah delivers carefully measured statements about her mother, it may not be detachment. It may simply be the only operating system she knows when stakes are high and the world is watching. The posture of composure. Watch the February 7th video again. Her back is straight. Her words are deliberate. There's emotion there. In her eyes, in the slight tightening of her voice, but it's contained. Some viewers interpret that as control. Others see suppressed grief. The truth is likely more layered. People raised in environments that value self-control often default to structure during chaos. They choose precise language because precision feels stabilizing. They avoid visible panic because panic feels contagious. That doesn't mean they aren't afraid. It means they process fear internally first. In high-profile crises, public restraint can also be strategic, especially when legal advisors and investigators are involved. Calm communication may be intentional, not because the pain is smaller, but because the consequences of missteps are enormous. The invisible yardstick. Many high achievers share a similar story. Success doesn't quiet the internal voice measuring whether they've done enough. If you grow up with high expectations framed as love, you may carry that measuring stick into adulthood. Emmy Awards, primetime interviews, professional accolades, none of them silence the instinct to ask, was that good enough? That dynamic is not unique to Savannah. It's common among driven professionals who were raised to equate excellence with security. In moments of crisis, that instinct can intensify. Bringing a parent home safely might feel less like hope and more like obligation. The fear isn't only loss, it's perceived failure. That psychological pressure is invisible to viewers, but it's powerful, and it can coexist with profound love. Siblings. Under the same code, Savannah isn't facing this alone. Her siblings are navigating the same uncertainty, shaped by the same foundational values. Families forged through hardship often share unspoken rules. Fix problems quietly, don't burden others, Maintain dignity under strain. When the three of them appear composed in public statements, that doesn't mean they aren't grieving. It may mean they were raised to handle grief privately first. In high-profile cases, families often work closely with law enforcement and advisors to craft careful messaging. That structure can look rehearsed, but it's frequently about protecting the integrity of the investigation. Discipline in public doesn't negate heartbreak in private. It simply reflects a family culture that prioritizes steadiness when the ground feels unstable. The cost of holding it together. There is, however, a cost to constant composure. People who are practiced at strength sometimes struggle to access vulnerability when they need it most. They may feel safer managing logistics than admitting fear. They may speak clearly on camera and then collapse emotionally once the door closes. That doesn't make them inauthentic. It makes them human. Longtime colleagues have expressed concern not about Savannah's public image, but about her exhaustion, sleeplessness, relentless adrenaline, constant anticipation of news. Those factors alone can drain anyone. Add the emotional complexity of possibly losing a parent, and the toll deepens. Strength can carry a person far, but it also requires release. Eventually, even the strongest need space to grieve without scrutiny, the responsibility of public narrative. It's tempting to build sweeping psychological conclusions from fragments of private conversations, but without verified on-the-record statements, it's responsible to treat such accounts carefully. Stories about closed-door meetings and confidential remarks can travel quickly, especially when they involve recognizable media figures. Yet repeating them as definitive truth risks distorting reality. What we can say with certainty is this: Savannah is navigating an unimaginable situation in full public view. She is balancing legal strategy, family unity, media attention, and personal anguish. That alone explains much of her demeanor. We don't need dramatic secret dialogues to understand the pressure she's under. Sometimes the simplest explanation, profound love mixed with lifelong conditioning, is the most accurate. When strength meets fear, one idea resonates deeply regardless of rumor. When someone is raised to believe they must be strong at all costs, vulnerability can feel like betrayal. If Savannah appears unwavering, it may be because unwavering is what she learned to be. But strength and fear can coexist. A steady voice does not cancel trembling hands. A composed face does not erase racing thoughts. In many ways, her calm may be the bravest thing she can offer right now, to her family, to investigators, and perhaps to her mother herself. Calm signals resolve. It communicates seriousness. It tells whoever is responsible that the family will act thoughtfully, not recklessly. That posture may be as strategic as it is emotional. Beyond the cameras. When the cameras turn off, the dynamic changes. There are no polished sentences, no measured pauses, just a daughter waiting for news about her mother. That private space is where the real processing happens. Whether Nancy returns safely or not, Savannah will eventually have to navigate the emotional aftermath. If she has carried an internal belief that love must be earned through perfection, this crisis will challenge that belief profoundly. But crises can also soften rigid frameworks. They can create openings for new understanding, that strength and vulnerability are not opposites, that composure does not define worth, that love does not require flawless outcomes. Holding compassion in uncertainty. As we wait for updates, compassion matters more than conjecture. It's natural to analyze body language and word choice. It's human to search for meaning in every pause. But behind each video is a family enduring long nights of uncertainty. Rather than amplifying unverified private conversations, perhaps the better response is empathy. Empathy for a daughter trying to stay upright under extraordinary pressure. Empathy for siblings leaning on each other. Empathy for colleagues watching someone they care about carry an unbearable load. Strength can be admirable, but so can tenderness. And in this moment, tenderness, from the public, from friends, from anyone observing, may be the quiet support that matters most.